Jackie, can you hit the got it?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I've got 11:30. I know there's probably people be joining here, waiting for. Feeling. Thanks, Jackie. All right, Bennett, shall we go ahead and call this meeting to order?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Ken Louie, Chair of the Workforce Development Council. And today, just for clarification, today's will be a presentation on the draft of the Unified State Plan that's in development. Thank you all for joining. I'd like to remind, before I call roll call, I'd like to ask everyone to try to please keep your cameras turned on. And again, this meeting is being held in accordance with the Hawaii Opens Meeting Law, otherwise known as the Sunshine Law. As I mentioned, it's an informational and presentation meeting. As such, there will be no called or no voting held on board matters. For those board members that are in attendance, you are also requested to report your attendance at our next regularly scheduled board meeting. Okay, let's go ahead with the roll call. Me here. Okay. Manu Bermudez. I don't think I saw her. Jason Brand. I'm just going to go through them, and then since there's only a few of us here, but stop me if you hear your name called. Eileen Caldwell, Cheryl Cross, Keith DeMello, Rona Fukumoto, Shelly Ihori, Derek Kanehira, Sean Knox, Robert Litsky, Trong Malone.
I'm present.
Thank you, Trong. Gary Miyashiro, Gerald Smits, not on the board, I think. Kelly Ueoka, Jason Chang, Rosella Gadashian.
Present.
There you go. Aina, Leslie Wilkins, Michael Anderson, he tended his Scott Collins, Ian Daizan. I hear some tinging, yeah. Carla Kurokawa.
Present.
Thank you. Dewey Scanlon, Lorna Wu.
I'm here.
Stanley Chang, Andrew Garrett, Luana Mai representing Maui Mayor Richard Bisson, Andy Kamano designee for Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Nalani Brunn representing Mayor Derek Kawakami of Kauai, Doug Adams representing Hawaii County Mayor Mitch Roth, Blake Oshiro representing Governor Josh Green, David Rodriguez representing Director Jay Butai, Leah Diaz, and Winston Sakurai.
I'm here. Sorry, Leah Diaz.
Oh, thank you, Leah.
And Winston, present.
Present, okay. Della Taraoka representing David Lassner's office, and Dane Wicker, designee for James Togioka. Okay, if I missed any board members, please notify or let me know. Also proceeding to introduction of guests. Do we have any guests with us? Please identify yourself.
Well, Keith DeMello present. I missed you earlier.
Oh, Keith, did I miss Keith? Thank you, Keith. I think he's missed. All right. Any other board members or guests?
Yeah, Jason Brand is here too. I've joined late.
Sorry,
Hi.
Rona Kumoto. I was a little slow responding.
No problem. I ran through that pretty quickly. And for those that signed up may have missed, for board members, please report your attendance at our next board meeting per the Sunshine Law requirements.
Hello, Alice Miner, a DBED intern from the Helemo internship program.
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Sherry
Hearing
Concho
none.
from the County of Hawaii.
Sherry Concho. Yep. Thank you, Sherry.
Davin Colmore from Workforce Development Board.
Thank you, Devin.
And Ken Miyamoto, Hawaii Department of Education, guest.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Dan. Any others? Okay. All right, then I guess at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to Vanette Vizzalucho, our Executive Director, who will present the Unified Plan. Vanette, all yours.
Aloha. Thank you very much, Chair. Appreciate everyone being here and dedicating the time to be here despite everyone's busy schedule. Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last 4 or 5 months, you've heard us talk about the Unified Plan for many, many times during board meetings or committee meetings. So we're finally here. We've achieved a significant milestone with the first draft of the Unified Plan. Now, mind you, I just want to manage expectations that this is a draft. So the first draft, so we expect, changes, revisions, modifications, particularly as we go around the community to solicit and elicit feedback on, particularly on the goals and the strategies. I do want to also thank our core partners because this would not have been possible without our core partners from the Department of Education and the vocational rehab, and of course, WDD, who is in charge of Title I and Title III. Let me go ahead and paint a little bit of a background, a picture, a context. When you wake up in the morning, you see outside your window or, beautiful sunshine, beautiful scenery, and it is paradise, right? But we all recognize that somehow underneath the surface, there are realities that confront us. 42% of our population are not able to afford the basics. There were 10,000 people, according to DBED, who left the state in search of a better life for themselves and for their families. The unemployment numbers are low, but they don't belie the entire truth, right? Because Hawaii is predominantly low skill, low wage, service-based economy with a very small job market and one of the highest, if not the highest cost of living in the country. We have had many attempts and continuing to have initiatives that would help diversify our economy, but we're not there yet. The impact is not as much or as big as we would like it to be. However, it's not doom and gloom. I don't want you to think that, we're giving up because there's positive signals. And I think that promise is derived from the people who are our stakeholders, who are committed to lift our workforce and work on this issue of workforce development. And why should we care? Because economic development is very tied into workforce development. My favorite phrase nowadays is economic development is equal to workforce development is equal to economic development. So in other words, great challenges present great opportunities. So this morning, I'm going to talk to you about a little background on I'm not going to talk to this group about WDC and WIOA because you should know that, but this is a template that we've used in the past. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the state plan.
Sorry, but if anyone can't see the text, let us know. I think you can go in presentation view, Vanette, and make it bigger, but if this is fine as well.
Okay. Hang on. It is presentation view because you know why? For some reason, I had this issue earlier when I presented this to the Oahu Workforce Board. Is it working now?
Not filling the whole screen, but
Oh, really? Okay, hang on.
Presentation mode, it is focused. We had, I asked her to try slide view.
maybe slide.
I can't see what you're seeing, so I don't know whether.
Yeah. Maybe slide view mode?
It is
Not a-
slide show, yeah.
Okay, well, if everyone can see it, that's fine. I just thought I'd.
Okay, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it, and then we can see a little slide next to it with notes.
You're showing your presenter view.
Oh, okay, how do I get rid of that presenter view? I don't know. For some reason, I can't seem to get rid of it. Okay, anyway, is it okay to push
Sure.
forth or?
Yeah, it looks fine from here anyway, Vanette.
Okay, so as I was mentioning, okay, now it won't move. This is exactly we had this. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is a template. So in my presentations to the community, I talk a little bit about WDC and WIOA, about the state plan. I'm going to provide some background on our economic analysis as well as the labor market. But at the end of the day, I think the important part of this is our goals, or are our goals and strategies. This is a 362-page document. So obviously, I'm just going to highlight the things that are of core importance, but I would encourage everyone to, or when you have the time and the patience, to look at it, particularly the first part, which is the strategic element portion. And then I'm going to go into summary and the next steps. I'm going to skip through this because obviously you know what WDC is, the functions, one of which is, as you know, we are responsible for preparing the unified plan. So it's federally mandated for us, for all the states, so that we can continue to receive federal funding. It's produced every 2 years with a modification for on the second year. So in the past, it's been a compliance document, but even the Department of Education or Department of Labor has seen it as an opportunity to really engage the various stakeholders to make sure that efforts are meaningful and integrated. Particularly because never in the history of the US has there been such infusion of federal dollars into workforce. Even the Department of Transportation with its formula funds are now allowed to put forth investments in workforce development from the formula funds. I do want to underscore that this is not a master plan. So it's an opportunity to start a conversation. And so you will find in the plan that we have short-term initiatives, but there's also some long-term, more visionary goals that we would like to put forth that may be even generational. And as I mentioned, 362 pages with 124,477 words and divided into 2 parts, strategic elements and operational elements. This particular presentation, we're going to deal more with the strategic elements. The operational elements will be the ones that are written by our core partners, and it goes more specifically into the operational as well as the technical aspects. So here's our timeline. On January 16th, we posted the first draft on the WDC website. For a whole month, we are having the public comment period. Instead of just waiting for people to comment, because in the past we have posted the plan, and that was the way we gathered feedback. But we felt that it was important to really go into the community. So we have schedules of meetings with boards, with key stakeholders that we have scheduled, one of which is this one, to elicit again the feedback that we need so that it can be a more robust plan. We are scheduled to submit this particular document to the U.S. Department of Labor on March 4th, and we anticipate 90 days for it to be approved. Let me lay the groundwork for the labor market. I think it's not a surprise. Tourism continues to be our biggest driver, but let me point out that government represents almost 20% as well. Here are some of the jobs that are available. Non-agriculture wage and salary jobs account for a major portion of this. So here is the projection for the next 10 years from 2020 to 2030 that tourism related jobs, which is accommodation and food services, will continue to experience the biggest increase. Utilities are expected to be the only sector that would shrink. I'd like to call out the unemployment rate. So in 2020, not surprisingly, we had the highest unemployment rate. However, it kind of stabilized in 2021. And as of 2023, if I remember correctly, October, it is at 2.3%. So labor participation trends is how many of the labor market who are eligible to work are actually working. So statewide, in 2012, it was 65.5. Let me tell you what it is now. So now for 2022, it's pretty much went down a couple of notches. The Hawaii County has the lowest. So here for this participation rate, the higher the better. For Hawaii County, they have a low participation rate. We expect though that because of the Maui fires that Maui County will likely have or will see a decline. So here are some economic trends. So I just want to point out the earned income, and I will come back to this point later on. When you look at earned income, we're really referring to the living wage. How much does a family of two support a family? And there are a diversity or a variety of numbers that are being thrown around. DBED has 52,000. Aloha United Way has 89,000. MIT came out with 69,000, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics has 48,000. This is important because as we're moving forward, we need to be able to demarcate what is a living wage in Hawaii. In addition, of course, there's a gap between living and median wages. There's several trends in the horizon that we need to be mindful about, including gig economy, AI, and of course, remote work, which we have seen on the rise during 2020. And then, of course, the in and out migration that is happening in Hawaii. It's one of the 10 states in the country to lose population. In September, and many of you have been part of that exercise, we went through the exercise of creating a state vision. And at the end, this is the vision that our Workforce Development Council members created. And I just want to point out that we need to build a 21st century, globally competitive, inclusive economy for all of Hawaii residents. So here are the state workforce goals. This was crafted from the strategic plan as well as conversations with a lot of stakeholders, with um, key leaders, business leaders. And at the end, this was the 6 goals that we had set for ourselves. Again, this is not written in stone. It's open to be modified, open for your input. But the first one, I think we talked about this in the beginning about how workforce development and economic development are tied in. And our working pattern should really reflect that. We want to be able to build stronger bridges or continue to work with the Hawaii's educators. We want to make sure that there's alignment between the workforce development stakeholders in the public, private, and philanthropic realm. We want to increase support for organizations and agencies that provide training. This is very important. And then prioritizing services according to WIOA, because as you know, WIOA addresses those populations that are vulnerable and who have barriers to employment. And last but not least, this is one that I feel passionately about, transforming our American job centers to make sure that, you know, we attract the folks that really need to be helped. Excuse me. So let me just address one goal at a time. And again, this is very high level. We want to make sure that we have a holistic approach that takes into account Hawaii's cultural values and that it will be sustainable. So here are some of the strategies that we have come up with. And again, there's several, but I just want to highlight the white ones. So we have been, I think it behooves us, because there are so many federal funds available, have Hawaii explore how to access those funds. And so we would like to propose a working group that can be able to navigate that process. And then one of the big goals that we have is calling for a living wage summit with all the various stakeholders, with all those who are involved in the data collection. Then at the end of the day, come up with a number that would be acceptable to all concerned. So at the end of the day, it will be a marker that all of us will be aligned to. The goal 2 is connecting to Hawaii's educators. It is already being done. However, I think it's important to underscore that we need to continue this, whether at the K-12 level, all the way to the college level, to the CTE levels. So there are some strategies and goals that we have proposed. We also would like to ensure that the DOE is involved. So I've asked the Department of Education, Adult Ed, to provide some additional, I guess, specifics for this portion of the plan. And I know they're going to be in the process of providing those comments. Third goal is alignment. We had a summit right after the Workforce Development Council's strategic plan. We had a summit that was held with about 12 or 13 stakeholders present. During that plan, it was quite apparent that there's a need to communicate on a regular basis, make sure that we're aligned so that we don't duplicate functions. So here are some of the strategies. And this one I'm really excited about. So one of the ideas that kind of percolated from this is that we need to have a state goal similar to what the clean energy folks have done. Back in 2008, there were many stakeholders who are working within their own enclave towards this, you know, towards their own objectives. However, there was not a unifying goal. It took in 2015 the legislature who codified it, and they made this aspirational goal of 100% renewable energy by 2045. At the time that they developed that goal, that target, there were some technology that was already developed, but some they didn't even know how it would come about. But over the period of time, as these stakeholders were, pushing forward, they made modification on their plans, and now it seems like everybody is working aspirationally towards that goal. And Hawaii now is being touted as one of the leaders in terms of clean energy in achieving its sustainable, energy efficient targets. So we hope that we're able to kind of come up with that goal as well. We've already had discussions with the policy advisors at the governor's office. So we hope that we can bring everybody together. Whatever that goal may take, it has to be smart, right? It has to be aspirational, but at the same time, we're able to measure it. So at the end of the day, it is really an affirmation, a demonstration of our alignment. So goal 4 is about training. Unfortunately, when we put out an RFP for eligible training providers, we have very few who would respond. This is one where if we increase capacity for our nonprofits, we're hoping that they will be able to provide that. Sadly, this is important. I think I mentioned that because in many times, programs actually get closed because there's not enough trainers. So we want to be able to modernize the list. We want to be able to create awareness and again, increase capacity for our nonprofits. The other thing that is included in this tactic is also looking at the vacancies at the state and city levels wherein there's a high number of employee vacancies. So we're hoping to, create a group that would look into this. This is very aspirational because this is really going to it may mean revamping our system, but we're looking at skills-based approach versus just an educational attainment one, because there are some who might be coming into the picture with more experience, not necessarily the educational background, but we cannot just, discount those. So we want to encourage the administration to look into that. I know several bills were introduced at the legislature, but we would like to have a more concerted effort on that point. Goal 5 is prioritizing our populations who have barriers to employment. And here are some of the tactics. We want to be able to seek collaborations. And Rona, I know you're here with Aloha United Way and Lanakila Pacific, to mention a few. So that we can maximize reach. We don't have to duplicate efforts. I think we can have, partnerships that can promote efficient use of resources. There's other goals that, as we were going around, for instance, the immigrant population, I made a presentation to the Immigrant Resource Center, and they gave me 2 insights that I thought, okay, perhaps we can use that and put a goal, a tactic for that. They said, and it was very insightful to me, and I'm an immigrant, so it really resonated. Apparently for immigrant population, the one thing that prevents them from seeking a better job is their ability to speak good English. So I know I've talked to Winston actually about this and partnering, because the adult education has a component for English as a second language, but somehow our immigrant population are not accessing these programs. So we hope that we can partner the two. The Immigrant Resource Center is an organization that has, I think, 25 immigrant groups under them. So we are hoping that this kind of partnership will, really expand WIOA's purview or reach. And then at the other end, there's also a program for a path to citizenship. That's the other component that I was told would, as they feel more invested into the country, and feeling a connection with where they are here, they would have the confidence to seek better jobs. So, and as a rising tide raises all ship, I think we should support that. So that's one of the tactics that we're hoping will be included as we, move into the final version of the plan. So this is one of my favorite because it's the American Job Centers. As you know, it's our first line of support. Unfortunately, many times there's a lack of awareness, either where they are or what it does. So we're hoping we can't really touch the brand of the American Job Centers, but certainly we can enhance their identity. Similar to the presentation that was given to us by Las Vegas, which has been one of the most creative leaders in terms of getting their American Job Centers really be a vibrant center for the community and being at the forefront of getting people jobs. We want to be able to do that as well. The way to do this, we will engage with, make sure that we have our local boards be mindful so that there will be stronger oversight. We're hoping to engage some consulting services to make sure that we have a refresh market positioning. So in the case of Las Vegas, for instance, if you recall, in addition to the AJC, they partnered with the Chambers of Commerce, and it's branded, it's co-branded, not just branded. So again, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds, but suffice it to say, I think there's things that we can do with our AJCs to make them more vibrant and cool. So in short, collaboration and integration is the key. We will be not just making sure that this document, gets put in the shelf somewhere and forgotten. We would like to actually create a dashboard to monitor outcomes. But at the same time, we want to be nimble. We want to be flexible. And this is the exciting time to be, part of the workforce development because there's a buzz on workforce development. I recently attended the Employer Engagement Committee meeting, and they had, thanks to the leadership of Derek Kanahira, there were 25 other private sector representatives, banks and whatnot, and they had workforce development in their title. So let me end with this. So it's like a local potluck, right? When people come, they have food, but not everybody, you need to coordinate. You need to assign somebody to say, okay, you're going to bring rice. You're going to bring noodles. You're going to bring, adobo. You're going to bring sushi. But if we don't coordinate, everybody will come and no paper plates or no rice, right? So this is how we're going to approach it with all the various stakeholders having within their own enclave, being good at what they're doing. But at the end of the day, we'll have a potluck and everybody eats and everybody gets full. So any questions? This is how you can participate. How do you provide feedback? So please access our WDC website where you will find reference to the copy of the Unified Plan. There's also a feedback form which you can click, and it actually has 9 languages. We can provide access to those who are, speak English as a second language. If needed, we will make those kind of accommodations. You can also contact me if, for instance, there is a need to translate the document, although it is on Google, so hopefully there's Google Translate. But the written comments have to be in by February 16th, so that then we can incorporate those and produce the master or the final version of the plan and sent to WDD by February 23rd. That's all I have. Thank you all very much for your patience and for allowing me to make this presentation. Questions? I stunned you. You're all sleeping. I'm gonna close the slide and stop sharing. Okay, questions or comments? Are we off to a good start? Huh?
Looks like you covered it all. Thank you for that summary. I guess there's no announcements.
So Ken, I just want to again reiterate what I started, that we want to thank our core partners for their role, for their support, for helping produce the operational elements of the plan, which is like 2/3 of the way. There were changes made. It's a lot of work, but I think at the end of the day, it was a collaborative effort and collaborative. So the product should stand on its own. And so, but just grateful to the core partners for being there.
I agree, and I would also like to express my gratitude and appreciation for the core partners. It's a daunting task. I mean, it's a heavy document. I've gone through most of it already and had some notes, so I'll get with you on those things. But yeah, thank you for everyone that participated. Fortunately, we only have to do this every 4 years, and not every year. Shall we continue on with the agenda then, Vanette?
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing no public announcements. As far as the next meeting, our next board meeting, WC is scheduled for February 15th at the AGC. Okay, good. Be good to visit the AGC. Any other further questions? I'll put it out there before we adjourn the meeting. Nope. Thank you all for coming today and attending today's session.
Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.